And welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, nationally known as the Money Lady. Since 1976, been trying to educate and empower people around money, finances, all kinds of issues, but also as a part of what I contribute to our community is interviewing fascinating people who have done extraordinary things in a non-traditional way. I happen to believe that most of us would really like to learn about what makes that incredible person so incredible. And you know what? I have a venue through this television station to interview people the way I want to, in a comfortable, relaxed environment, ask them the questions I want to ask them, and not have to be concerned about advertisers, commercials, all of that. So you can sit back and enjoy these telecasts and my guests and give me feedback. And I do encourage you to give feedback. If you are new to watching this show, you can always look at back episodes by going to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/The Power of Money. And you will see about 67 shows that are on that venue, and more to come, because as I interview, I do put them on YouTube. So please avail yourself of wonderful information, awesome guests. And today's guest is truly awesome. And I know I say that a lot, but I'm telling you, his life is such a stellar story of an African-American man who has overcome obstacles, challenges, etc., a pioneer in the area of athletics and sports for racial equality. And that individual that I'm having as my guest today is none other than Jack Jackson. And for those of you that don't know Jack Jackson, you just might as well sit down, because you're getting ready to learn some stuff, and you're going to be as moved as I was to extend him the invitation to come on my show and to be interviewed, because there's some things I want to ask him that I can't ask him on emails and over the phone. But let me give you a little bit of information about my next guest. Jack Jackson spent his early youth in southeastern Kentucky, where his father was a coal miner. He was educated in the public school system of Dayton, Ohio. He is a graduate of Eastern Kentucky University, where along with 4 other black student athletes, he broke the color barrier, eventually to be enshrined in Eastern Kentucky University's Athletic Hall of Fame. He holds a master's degree from Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, where he was a summa cum laude graduate in 1975, thus becoming one of the earliest black recipients of a graduate degree from that Tennessee institution. He holds distinguished alumni status at Eastern Kentucky, where in 1997 he became the first African-American president of Eastern Kentucky University's National Alumni Association. And he enjoys currently outstanding alumni status at Austin Peay State University. He is a military veteran of the Vietnam era. You all know I love military guys. He was stationed at Fort Myer, Virginia, being drafted into the U.S. Army while completing his undergraduate education and eventually becoming serving, I should say, his tour of duty at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Mr. Jackson is married to his lovely wife, Shirley Ann, a Berea College graduate and a native of Berea, Kentucky. They are the parents of 2 adult children, Stacy and Eric, who also live in Dayton, Ohio. He's a former community relations advisor for Dayton Metropolitan Housing, and for over 25 years held supervisory and managerial positions in both the public and private sector. I could go on and on and on and on about this man, because when you are in the presence of greatness, it just goes on and on and on. And so I'm not going to say much more. I'm going to introduce you to him, and then we're going to immediately clip over to an interview that was done with Jack Jackson, with the president of Eastern Kentucky University and one of the retired professors who is director of the Alumni Society. So, sir, powerhouse. Oh, you're something.
Michelle, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Certainly.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What do you have to say about your life before flipping this over to this?
Well, in all
video?
honesty, so much about life is timing. Thank you for the kind words, and I thank you for
The truth, Jack.
I think that a combination of life experiences, spiritual awareness, strong parental background, respect for self, respect for authority, respect for rule of law, has all come together with a gift that I humbly accept. I've come to realize I'm predisposed to helping people.
But that's a good thing.
I like doing that.
That's a good thing.
And that more or less buttressed my views in terms of wanting to help and to outreach and to touch people in a positive fashion. The events that took place, the accolades that happened along the way, I think they just, I humbly accept those, but more importantly, I think I've been able to use my out-of-the-box personality, if you will, to reach people and to encourage folk. The term I aspire to inspire before I expire, which I can't claim as my own, was given to me by an old preacher about 70 years ago. And he told me that this is what he saw in me. I just yearned to help folk, and that may sound corny. I don't care really, but the results are shown. I've been able to touch some young people, to inspire folk. And at the end of the day, at the end of one's life, this is really the culmination of what you're all about, because the other stuff, the material aspects of life, the stuff we acquire, the names that we create along the way, fades away. It all fades away. So what you have done for people, that's how you live on.
Your legacy.
Your legacy, the folk that you have touched and who, as a result of your little help, inspired them, because it compounds. See, the folk that you help, more often than not, want to help other people.
Well, that's the hope.
It's compounding. And once you realize that it's not just about you.
Say that again.
Once that, if you can really embrace that, I mean, embody that, that it's not solely about you, that frees you up to do more for people. Because the stuff that you got coming, that's going to come anyway. The stuff that you got coming will come anyway. See, what you do, if you can, is to empower, inspire people. That's what, if you're looking for legacy, if that's what you crave. But most often, people who do things are not necessarily concerned about creating a legacy. They just do. They don't keep tally. They don't keep tally of what they do. See, if you got to keep tally, see, you don't have time to keep doing.
Say that again.
See, people are so concerned about laying up treasure, if you will, you know, in terms of what's my name going to be like, whatever I got to do to get there, I'll do. And they've lost sight of the fact that if I help this person here to do something worthwhile, that's going to compound. That's going to grow. And that's what I've seen in my time. And I've been an eyewitness to history. The years of EKU, the folk that I met, the things that I was able to do, it's at my doorstep now. It's in my lap. it inspires me to do even more. I'm energized. My wife says, act like a sophomore. You know, I said, well, be that as it may, you know,
Yes, yes.
I embrace this desire, this gift to touch and move people. Last week, a young man, Earl Nichols from Dayton, Ohio,
Okay.
a psychology major, got in grad school. I told his family, because I had some input there.
Okay.
Let's call Earl Dr. Nichols.
Now.
Now.
Right.
Okay, he's 22 years old.
Yeah, speak it now.
Okay.
Yes.
So he sent me a thank you card, nice note,
Uh-huh.
and signed it, Dr. Earl Nichols.
Yes.
So he's 22 years old, entering grad school, which you'll have to wait in a couple of years.
But he will be doctor.
Then on to his PhD. See,
Yes.
But what we've done, see, we have put this in his mind.
See, I love that.
We have implanted within this young man what he can do. And see,
Yes.
what's going to happen, see, I'll be dead and gone. I mean, come on. But Earl Nichols is going to touch and inspire other people to achieve and go on to great things. See, so what little bit I did, whatever that might be, but Earl's going to do more. Then he's going to have students that he's going to tutor and teach who are going to spread the word even more. So it's going to, like a pool, a rock in a pool of water. It's just going to wrinkle out.
You know what? And I must say this is why I just fell in love with you straight up, because you asked me, what can I do to help you?
I meant that.
I know you
yeah,
did,
yeah.
but I'm just telling you that so few, I can count the number of people who have ever said genuinely, what can I do to help you, Michelle? They tend to be self-serving and self-centered. And I'm like, Jack, you and I know it's bigger, but people have to see it bigger to do better.
Yeah.
They have to. And then some people get so caught up in the minutia of life, which is, can I just get through the day? And I'm saying, but it's bigger. It's bigger.
You know, I talked to Ron Todd, whom you know.
Oh, I love him.
My prayer partner, big Ron Todd.
Yeah, I love him.
We tell each other all the time, by helping, you can't lose.
Right.
I can't lose.
Right.
I can't lose.
Right.
Wherever I help, that expands my personal spheres of influence.
Right.
See? I mean,
But it takes a giant of a person to see it like that.
I guess.
Because that is a God consciousness, Jack. God does not get smaller. God is expansive. He's always thinking bigger. So I said, your big is very small when a person is on a bigger path. But it has to work by giving.
Well, it's almost, if you understand the process, Michelle, if you help folk, I can call anybody in this country. I can call anybody right now, help anybody because of the network that I have developed through helping people.
Yes, exactly.
You see?
Exactly.
And that's what allows us to grow as a people.
Right.
And we must learn to network more. We must learn to dialogue more with folk around us, folk of different ilk.
Right.
Folk who have different views on things.
Right.
To share and to understand things.
Right.
And come out of our cocoons and our little self-imposed boxes.
Yes. I like the term self-imposed. I like you saying that.
Yeah, well, it truly is. Most of the damage that we do to ourselves is self-induced.
My God.
If the truth be told.
Yeah.
Point, most
you did
folks
it to yourself.
don't want to admit it.
Right.
They'll blame the world, the system, their gender, their race. Now, I'm not naive. I know that there are factors that determine one's outcome. But at the end of the day, Michelle, you pretty much call the own shot. So you can't control who you were born to.
No, you can't.
Where you were born.
No, you can't.
These are what I call non-merit factors.
Okay, keep going.
What happens
keep
is
going.
What do you do? Now that I'm here,
okay.
I'm black, I'm white, I'm Hispanic, whatever I am.
Right.
I'm here now. Now, am I going to bask in my own self-pity? Am I going to embrace a dead past that I knew nothing about in the first place?
Right.
Or am I going to do what I can do to improve myself, irrespective of what I came from?
Right.
That's it. You see, life is a series of choices
Yes, it is.
that you make every day
Every day.
that determine your outcome. It's no secret when you watch folk who are achieving, who are doing things. It's not happenstance, Michelle. That was planned.
Jack, every morning.
And that's not to say
Every
now
morning.
that you got to be a monk and a monster and some of that
Right.
stuff. You still can be you,
Right.
but as you're being yourself,
Right.
make those choices that are going to benefit you long term.
So how does a person develop the mindset that projects them into their destiny? Because you know the whole thing today is purpose. And I'm like, well, that's a nice book. And Rick, you made a bunch of money. Yeah, Rick joined it. But the reality is this: translating that into practice. How does one do that, Jack?
Well, I preach self-motivation.
Okay, we'll talk about
I
that.
preach self-motivation in this regard. One is influenced by the peers, folk around you.
Yes.
When I was a young man, I knew a black school secretary, Miss Roberta Coleman. Never forget her.
Okay.
I knew Russell Carter, the first black city judge in
Okay.
Dayton. Dr. Gunn, Dr. Stanley Coleman, two black doctors.
Okay.
No, 4 or 5 people, professional blacks, within my sphere of influence. But today, young people, irrespective of race, are surrounded by all manner of professionals.
They
are. And so communications we're inundated with information.
Right.
There is no excuse for not knowing. Now, grant you, there are distractions that plague young folk today that didn't plague me and even yourself.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they're smarter too. They're more informed.
Oh, sheesh. Oh, my God.
So now,
yes, they are.
Success, and this may sound harsh, not meant to be, but if you want to succeed, you will. Now, and once you decide that you want to succeed, see, the world likes winners.
Oh, don't we?
When they see you trying to improve, invariably, Michelle, folk come out of the woodwork to help you.
Yes.
You get more help.
How do you explain that
You
phenomenon?
get more people. The world likes winners.
The world likes winners.
They want to be a part. They want to hitch up to that star.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to hitch up to a star. Winners deflect the race piece. People don't care. If you got a better mousetrap, Michelle Graves, somebody gonna buy it.
Yes.
You can have.
Yeah.
You can be black with 2 heads.
Right.
If you have a service to give that's competitive,
They're gonna do it.
I tell many people in my travels around the country, now is perhaps the best time to be black.
I think so.
Okay?
Yeah.
See, we're no longer hampered by the old mythology. That dog don't hunt anymore.
That dog doesn't hunt
Don't
anymore.
Hunt, see?
Yes.
People may have their own personal idiosyncrasies about a number of things. But in the world of concrete business, people don't care.
Right.
Understand that. This is what my young people must understand. This is not your granddaddy's world. It's not your daddy's world.
Right.
Today.
Right.
So,
but you know, this is what I find to be so amazing, because the power of internet over the last decade has cast down all the myths, the issues. I mean, you can see
it's
whatever
made the playing field.
It's made flat.
It made it flat.
Flat.
When a person contacted me, doesn't know I'm in a big office complex or in my basement. He don't know.
Right.
So I'm not judged like I was even 20 years ago.
Right.
Mass communications has unleashed
genius.
People who heretofore wouldn't get looked at
Right.
because they're already
Right.
typecast.
Right.
And put aside, but not now.
That is such a liberating word. It is, because many people are still stuck
Yeah.
in a time that does not exist anymore.
But they allow themselves to be stuck there, and as also,
They need to get unstuck.
There's safety there too. See,
Oh, sure, it's
if
safety.
you allow yourself to be stuck there, you don't have to flex.
Right.
You don't have to reach.
Right.
See, now
Right.
so when you're competing, you have to reach.
Yes.
But if you decide, I'm just going to say in this mud pit,
Okay.
you know, I'm not going. I'm saved. I don't have anything.
Right. I don't have nothing.
But you know, if I don't, you know, I don't have to stretch.
Right.
I don't have to reach.
Right.
I don't have to commit.
Right.
So for those of us, that is a choice. That at the end of the day, again, it's a choice of what you want to do. If you choose to remain stuck in a time warp, you know, where you say, well, it's cause I'm black, cause I'm a woman, cause I have some handicaps. That's on you, because the world is gonna go by you. It truly
The world is moving fast.
Yeah.
It is. I am so glad that we're having this open,
Well.
transparent dialogue, because one of my frustrations, in fact, I just texted my son this morning. He's in Tampa, and as I was driving up to do these shows, I texted him, no regrets, ever.
Yeah.
And he calls me Ma Dukes.
My dukes.
Ma Dukes. And I said to him, good morning, son. Thinking about your bold, radical approach to life. And I appreciate and respect the man that you are. And I said, just remember, no regrets,
That's right.
ever, Ma Dukes. And I just think it's important that people remember at all times that what is done is done.
That's right. That's right.
There's nothing you can do to change that thing from what that thing did or didn't do.
Yeah.
You have to keep,
I agree.
life is progressive. Life is progressive. But I am challenged, and and this is why I wanted you on, because I think that at this time in history, it's important that we honor and venerate those who actually paved the way. Because there are body counts, Jack.
Yeah.
There are body counts from your generation. Oh, no, come on. I'm not that much younger than you. There are body counts for what you went through and how you dealt with it from your time. I look at men in your generation, and you all are profound. You're profound. Now, I have to ask you a question, because I've been dying to ask it. You spoke at Old Mississippi.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
92.
92. What was that like? Mississippi, as Nina Simone said, Mississippi. You know, they would lynch, kill, beat. An Ole Miss. Oh, come on.
Well,
That's a Confederate flag waving.
I've got many friends in Mississippi.
Okay.
One of the special men, Leroy Mullins, former trainer at Ole Miss in Oxford, and he was a classmate of mine at EKU.
Really?
Back in the day, and he brought me in to speak there. The chancellor brought me in to speak to the football team and to inspire that team, I guess.
What did you say?
And he was concerned about the legacy handcuffs people.
Okay.
Mr. Mullen was so concerned about my feelings because of the legacy, the reputation.
Well, come on, Jack. It is what it is. We don't look back, but I know you're kind of looking over your shoulder okay. All right, okay.
Well, here again, Michelle, I think that I have learned in my walk that people are just people.
They are.
Influenced by what they have been exposed to. It's almost unfair to continually stigmatize Mississippi, but it has a horrible legacy in terms of racial relations with minority people, with black people. Let's be frank about that. But I think that for our younger group today, coming today, we need to understand that people are just people, and not allow ourselves to be handcuffed by the past.
I agree.
And that's what I did. I went down there, and I was treated very fine. I mean, I was, and bear in mind now, I am an eyewitness to history.
Well, that's what I know.
50 plus. I
mean,
was a sophomore when Meredith went to Ole Miss in '62.
James Meredith. Yeah.
So and I was the first athlete to compete against Vanderbilt in 1963 and on their home field. So, but at 20 years old, what do you know? You know, the loudspeaker blared out Jack Jackson, the first Negro to compete against the Commodores in no home field. You know, you know,
Gotta carry that ball.
You know. I mean, so we. I think that we place too much value on the past in that regard. All too often, we use that as a excuse
Or maybe a crutch.
You know, not to succeed. So even though it was what it was, and you're right. I mean, what happened happened.
You did.
But
That's chronicled.
thank God that we were sustained by other people, faith, that allowed us to overcome some things and to make a difference down the line. See, you have to stick around to make a difference.
I like that. You have to stick around to make a difference. Okay.
It's like you have to stay the course.
Okay.
You know, and be around to tell the story.
Right.
Because see, everybody's affected, not just black. Everybody's affected by this thing.
Right.
I have a ton of folks who have just embraced me because I guess I stuck around. You know,
Well,
and
there's something to be said.
I humbly
with
accept
sticking-
that.
Yes,
You know, but
there's something to be said about that.
But the good that comes out of this is far more important than building a story about a less enlightened past.
Right.
You know.
And frankly, Jack, I tell people our country suffered from discrimination.
And it's still with us. I mean,
Right. But whenever you don't elevate your best and brightest to the top, that's whenever, as in economics, when we talk about discrimination, whenever you do not allow the best and the brightest to rise to the top, male, female, gay,
I agree.
you hurt your country's future.
And we have hurt this country immeasurably.
So I tell folks, get over it. We don't have it like that anymore. We're competing globally with monsters.
That's right.
And I'm serious. You know that military monster. And you don't have the time to say, I don't like that person.
Or luxury.
That's over.
Yeah, and smart people realize that.
Yes.
Genius can be found anywhere. Genius can be, people who want to do can be found anywhere.
Yes.
Irrespective of how you look or where you come from.
Right.
We're all Americans.
Right.
At the end of the day now.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we're all Americans.
Yes.
And I think that has to take that and embody that, embrace that. Now, I think it's wise to know about our past.
Yeah.
I know Captain Verse.
Right.
I'm a history major about our past.
Right.
And also being an eyewitness to discrimination, a victim many times. But that notwithstanding, I was shown that I had to go on.
Right.
I mean, in spite of what was taking place around me, I think looking back on that now, I dare to believe that I had a calling to stay the course.
I know you had a
to
calling,
tell the story,
Jack Jackson.
and strangely enough, when you're a champion for your people, other folks like it too, not just black people. I got a ton of white folks I
know
call
you
friends.
do. I know you do.
Because first of all, they know more than you might know what you went through.
Right. Because they were there too.
They were there. They know.
They know.
It story that was kind of comical. I've been in school, I guess, a couple of years, and well, my second year of school, and several of the white athletes, I was a track athlete, wouldn't come into the big mass shower room.
Okay.
I was showering.
Okay.
And I didn't know why they wouldn't come in there.
You like, I'm up in here.
You know what's up? So the coach, he got ballistic, and he just got on those guys, and then he almost whipped in telling me why they were that way. I didn't know. Michelle, there were young men from Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, West Virginia, who had never seen a black person naked.
Wow.
They came from those hamlets,
Right.
and those areas,
Right.
with all manner of mythology
Right, mythology.
that they
Right.
came equipped with
Right.
by their dads, their
Right.
uncles, their
Ignorance,
granddad.
right.
Now, here's the danger in that. When you preach this crazy dogma
Yeah,
to young people,
yes.
you hurt them.
Yes.
Because these young men came to like Jack Jackson. I'm their teammate.
Right,
I'm their friend.
right,
But they were torn because, but Granddaddy said he had a tail.
right,
Uncle Bob said he had horns.
right,
But I don't see Jack's tail or Jack's horns.
right. He had a shave.
So what's up?
Right.
So people who preach that mythology back have hurt their children.
Well, and I've because I just read an NPR survey where they talked openly about race issues, and the real challenge today is that a lot of younger white people are upset with their families. And it was all on NPR where they typed in their responses
Exactly.
from Twitter, and they were like, "You got to be kidding me. Why don't you stop these lies? We can look at it on internet. We can see it ourselves. This is a lie."
That's why the improvement, that's why I'm so hopeful of the future.
Oh, I have to be hopeful.
Because all of the old mythology is dying off.
Because they dying off.
Right,
No,
it died with them.
Yeah,
it
it's gonna die.
died,
It's
it
gonna
died
die
with
them.
them,
It's
okay?
gonna die with them.
It's unfortunate it
Yeah.
lasted so long.
Yes.
But that is what we're faced with. But I think that this is why I'm hopeful of the future. This is why I'm so hopeful.
Well, I tell
my
you,
push
I am
now
as well.
is that what I'm pushing now is for young black people to understand that you can exceed your circumstances by just doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, most people are average. You may have a prodigy here and there, but most of us make out the big average part. What separates the wheat from the tare is when people get exposure. See, exposure cures a lot of ills.
I like that, Jack.
Exposure allows me, to see other points of view.
Right.
It allows me to have more self-worth. You know, people who have good self, I don't mean false swagger, but if you've got genuine good self-worth, you're less volatile,
Yes.
you're less prone to argue,
Yes.
you're more understanding.
Yes.
Easier
And
to
you
get-
listen.
You're not spring-wound.
Right, right.
And you can hear other points of view that differ from your own,
Right,
and be okay.
Right.
See, don't kill the messenger.
right,
You know, you may disagree with the message,
right,
but don't kill the messenger.
right.
So, all of that comes about as a result of exposure that we give ourselves.
Right.
That, to me, exposure is as important as education.
I would have to agree with you on that because as I look at my life, God, in other cultures and living in other countries, everything changes when you
You've done
see.
Russia and China.
Come on, you just, like whatever. You know?
The fears are gone. See,
Yeah,
if,
they're people.
if you're unshackled by the fears, see, then you can make strides towards success.
So how do we move forward? And I really need to show this video because I want
We
them.
move forward by doing this.
What?
We get to our young people. We as the older people
Yes.
have to put aside a lot of our idiosyncrasies
Okay.
and not get hung up on their frailties.
Okay.
Because I'm convinced, and most folk who got good sense are convinced also that our young people have great minds, fertile
Oh,
minds.
jeez. Yes.
Our charge now is to just go beyond our boxes, older people, and gather in those who you believe want to succeed, and they're out there. But we got to go an extra step to get some of those kids. See,
I think you're
because
right.
they haven't had the benefit of the parentage that we had, perhaps. The rules. I knew stuff at 10 years of age. The guy learned it when they 20. I knew it from Daddy. He went to the 8th grade.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
in my household, being without, and we were poor, being without wasn't unlicensed to misbehave.
Thank
See,
you. Thank you.
Being poor was not a license
Right.
to be misbehaved, to be bad.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we as a people we've got to go. You got to go further. And say, look, let me talk about your pants. Let me holler at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me holler at you.
Let me holler at you
yeah.
about some things.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this. It's been proven to me, shown to me, that if you show sincerity, it will bridge an age gap.
Well, you're 70, and
Yeah.
you are one, and I'm in my 60s, and I don't have to make any excuses, but when you talk about that issue of sincerity, which is you talk to them straight.
Yeah, well, they read you. See, another thing,
they-
because you can't. That bothers some older people too, because you can't fool them.
Right.
See,
Because they were there.
I mean,
They watched
well,
you.
you can't fool young people.
Right.
They know too. They know more than you think they know.
I agree.
But we have to make sure that they're channeled, that they're taught, and we've got to do more. I'll just say to you,
Wow. We've got to do more.
do more.
Tell me how.
In your sphere of influence,
Yeah.
folk that you know, when you see young folk who show promise,
Yes.
the Earl Nichols of the world,
Okay.
and others, and they're a lot more than
Okay.
just Earl.
Okay.
We make it sure, be a committee of one
Okay.
to reach those 2 or 3. You got 10 friends, Michelle,
Oh.
who
yeah.
are doing the same thing.
Yes.
Then that compounding effect I talked about earlier will take place. Tutor 2 or 3 of them.
So you're talking about mentoring or tutoring?
Mentoring, tutoring, being an
Okay.
example for, talking
Okay.
to.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And you do that with your 2 or 3.
Okay.
Then
And you have your 2 or
right,
3.
your friends do the same
and
thing.
then we do the same thing, and it grows.
That works.
Wow. If we could, I'd like to get this interview from the president of EKU, Eastern Kentucky University. For those of you that are watching, EKU is over 100 years old, and they went way beyond in bringing in black athletes, of which Jack Jackson was one of 4. So if we can switch that interview briefly, and then I'll get back to this interview. Could we please?
Welcome to EKU Then and Now. I'm your host, Paul Blanchard, and I spent 35 years at Eastern as a faculty member and administrator. The focus of this program is on prominent EKU faculty, staff, and alumni who have had a meaningful involvement at Eastern during its history of more than 100 years. They will comment on what EKU has been like during its storied past, how it has changed, and what we might expect its future to hold. Our guest this month is one of EKU's distinguished alumni, Jack Jackson. Joining me to interview Mr. Jackson is EKU President Dr. Doug Whitlock. Doug and Jack were EKU classmates in the early 1960s. Jack is unabashed in his love for EKU in large measure because of the way his alma mater has changed his life and provided him the tools and resources to be successful. He served as the president of the EKU National Alumni Association in 1997-98 and has devoted years of service to his alma mater. Jack Jackson was one of the very first black student athletes to enroll at Eastern. Although he grew up mostly in Ohio, much of his very early years were spent in the coal fields of Lynch, Kentucky, where his father was a coal miner. During his undergraduate years, he was, along with Doug Whitlock, a history major and a very good student. He also became one of the premier track athletes in the history of the Ohio Valley Conference. After graduating from Eastern, Jack earned his master's degree in history from Austin Peay State University. He spent over 25 years in executive and managerial positions in both the public and private sectors. Over the years, he has come to know that his ministry and passion is to uplift and motivate others. Realizing that we live in a world of an age of inevitable change and that many of us become overwhelmed, his creed has become, I aspire to inspire before I expire. And Jack and I were talking about expiring at lunch. I think all of you watching this program will understand why he's in great demand as a speaker all over the United States. And Jack, once again, it's finally great to get to meet you in person. To start out, just tell us a little bit about why you came to EKU as a freshman in 1961, and what was it like for a teenager to be on this campus in that era?
Well, the first part of your question, Paul, was Don Daly, great track coach, a friend of Doug and mine. Was backfield coach at Dayton Roosevelt in Dayton after he finished EKU and a stint with NFL. And he came back to be on the staff of Glenn Presnell as backfield coach and also to double up as track coach. So he is recruiting. And a couple of fellows he talked to in Dayton about Eastern Kentucky State College. And where is that? And he told us Richmond, Kentucky. So we came down for a summer's visit. And of course, I might back up a bit here, Paul, and say that Ben Price and Robert Scott were here in school in the second semester of 1960. So they were actually here, the first two black students here to get scholarship help. And but in '61, myself and Irvin Lewis came into Eastern, and we came here. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, at 18, what do you know? At my house, no one had gone to college. Great parents, both of them, but no one had directed us toward colleges as such. And I went to run track and see girls like any 18-year-old. So I came to Eastern, and it was the beginning of my life being changed. A place where I met good people, where I was allowed to flex. In Dayton, Ohio, at that time, we had Dayton Dunbar, an all-black high school, and Dayton Roosevelt, my school, where blacks went. And in those days, unless you were a super athlete, you didn't get, as you know, Dr. Whitlock, you didn't get the recognition. And I wasn't super. I wasn't a featured athlete, so I didn't get the notoriety. But I got a chance here, and we had some great kids here. Dennis Sprouse, especially. Dennis Sprouse, as we discussed earlier, was from Northern Kentucky at the Highlands, a good football player and track man, who was the featured sprinter when I got here. He was the #1 guy, go-to guy, and very gracious. And he was a short fella, and I guess I had more leg than he did. And he was very helpful to me. I want that known. He was very helpful in helping get me ready to become a better sprinter. And I had a lot of help coming into the school. So I answer a lot of things there, but it's all in my heart and in my mind to say those things upon coming into school.
Well, Doug, why don't you jump in and tell us a little bit about your experiences with Jack and how you first met and what those days were like.
I was a sports editor for the Progress,
Okay.
but before the track season got started, first place I ever met Jack Jackson was in one of Bill Burge's history classes, and that was where I think so we got to know each other before I ever saw him with his spikes on. And Jack, when you first started out running track here, I was thinking about Dennis Sprouse and Richie Emmons, another sprinter, also a graduate of Highlands.
Mm-hmm.
The track was a real cinder track.
That's right.
Down there around the old football stadium there.
That's right.
At Hanger Field, where the Chapel of Meditation now exists. But before you were finished here, we had that nice new track.
That's right.
Up on the hill, and one of my great remembrances of that is you and I kind of watching dumbstruck as Ralph Boston did his exhibition runs up there one time.
Exactly. Yeah, Ralph Boston, I'm going to follow up on Doug here, because Boston was a great Olympian. He was going, we came back, this is '62 now we're talking. We had the very first rubberized asphalt track in Kentucky, right here on our campus, and we brought in Boston from Tennessee State to be our name host, and he ran hurdles for us, and he was a 9'4" sprinter too, by the way. He was 6'5", whatever he was. But, a great Olympian, and we grew from that track down Old Hanger Field, the Tender track, to the one we see now, the Samuels track now, which is one of the finest in the country.
And how did it come to be that track was built? That sounds like a Bob Martin project, maybe, that had come up with the money for that.
It certainly was. And of course, I was a student then. So I wasn't privy to what the financing was for that track. No, I wasn't consulted on that. But I do remember quite well that Dr. Martin articulated the vision of a centralized athletic complex there that included the Alumni Coliseum, the baseball field, the track, ultimately
I never heard that
Begley Building and Hangar Field, just right there across on the other side of Kit Carson from the track. And you look at it didn't happen by accident.
It gave me a chance, like I said earlier, to develop a place where I found myself. I came here a pretty shy person and left with some degree of self-worth, and I haven't looked back. A lot of people in town and on campus embraced us. The 1960s were the 1960s. But that notwithstanding, the people here wanted success to happen for those teenage guys in Dayton, Ohio.
I'm just so impressed by everything you say. Not only is EKU like a family in many respects, but now the whole town.
This place is
particularly
special.
for a young black student.
It's special. So many good things happened here. I met my wife, Shirley White Jackson, here, like at Berea College graduate, and had just been able to touch some people through my association with this university, be able to call some folks, make things happen over the years. I can call anybody on this campus to help someone who wants help, who wants to succeed. Use what influence I have to bring it to bear for folks who want to achieve. And I've been somewhat criticized because what might be a firm stance. Paul, you read some of the stuff, but.
And we're back. Wasn't that amazing about Jack Johnson? And while the video was airing, we had a chance to talk about that whole pioneering spirit and where we are today in history and moving forward. I want to just share a couple of more things about Jack Jackson, because he is, in my eyes, a great man. And what exactly does that look like? Well, from my perspective, it's a man of great integrity, great character, execution-oriented, meaning if he says it, he's going to do it. And I'm just going to read a few other things about him before resuming the final minutes of this interview with this remarkable man. Jack Jackson believes in giving back to the community. He's a member of the Association of Christian Athletes, the National Contract Management Association, Christian Appalachian Project, Kiwanis International, Full Gospel Fellowship of Businessmen International. He's the past president of Eastern Kentucky University National Alumni Association, of which you just watched the video, and has served on the board of Workplace Reconnections, a group dedicated to helping ex-offenders return to society as productive, law-abiding citizens. The thing that I will share with all of you that are viewing today is that the assumption is made that people that have achieved things have done them in a hole someplace, and it's just been a happenstance. But you should know that nobody who is pioneering and breaking traditions and just doing what they do got there by staying in a hole. They have to be leaders, and they have to be people that see a vision that God gave them. So on that note, we're going to get back to this interview. Tell me a little bit about these organizations that you're still involved in. I know you do a lot of national speaking. I know that you are considered an icon among motivational speakers. But what is your favorite nonprofit of this group that I just read? Because I love the Full Gospel Businessmen, and there's some other.
Thank you, Michelle, for the kind words. I believe that one must be varied. You got to have an array of interests to stimulate you. Business is very important. The gospel ministry is important. without question. It underpins us.
Yes, it does.
But I get a real satisfaction out of helping folk who have been incarcerated.
Oh, really?
For a
Okay.
number of years, I was part of the board. Jim DeBro, a good friend of mine, other folks in the community, we go forth to help young men get employment.
Okay.
Once incarcerated, we feel that a job is the one saving grace.
Yes, it is.
It gives one self-respect.
Yes.
It gives a sense of worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been my pleasure to observe folk that we've been able to help get jobs
Okay.
and to regain a place in society. I had a young man that I saw about two months ago who did some time,
Okay.
2 different times, matter of fact.
Oh, he's a repeat.
A repeat
Oh,
offender.
Okay. Repeat
And
offender.
but
Okay.
he's gainfully employed now. He's doing well. He's helping people along the way. He's,
Oh, good.
Other folk who are
good.
incarcerated.
Okay, I like that.
And
I like that.
humor here, a bit of humor. I have a saying I use in a lot of my speeches. I'd say, don't worry about the mule going blind. Just keep loading the wagon. And what it's saying, you know, is don't worry about the sidebar, small stuff. Just stay in your own lane. Do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And don't worry about stuff. So this young man he saw me, and we hugged and embraced. He said, Mr. Jackson, you know, you told me something 20 years ago
Wow.
that stayed with me in prison. And I was somewhat embarrassed. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you told me that. Don't worry about the mule going blind.
Just keep
loading the wagon.
Keep loading the wagon.
Yeah. So anyway, small things like that, other more concrete things obviously along the way that I was able to help with some things. And that to me is very rewarding. Kiwanis International is a great organization, obviously.
Yes, they are. Yes,
But
they are.
I guess I'm more at home with a hands-on approach with people. That's where I find my strengths lie. I mean, I can talk to folk, obviously, but my real pleasure comes in helping folk who are trying to get a foothold.
Well, this ex-offender thing is real.
Yeah, trust me.
It is so real today.
I've seen firsthand how real it really is. And,
Yes.
These people that we tend to want to put aside, within that group lies some genius too.
Oh, I have to believe that.
But we have to just, here again, go beyond our box, our self-imposed boxes, to do what we can. Now, we can't save the world necessarily, one person, but you can help.
But you can do
That one starfish, you know, that
Yeah.
you threw back in the water well.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that one you saved.
Right. That one you say.
That one is
Yeah,
grateful that
yes,
you know.
Yes.
So I think that we must be optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be hopeful,
Yes.
and you have to exhibit hope for people. You have to be positive. You know,
Right,
people
right.
people need to be uplifted.
Yes, they
You know,
do.
they've been beat down enough.
Right, right,
You know what I
right,
mean? You know,
right.
you need to come on and be and not be false about it. But here again, it goes back to sincerity.
Right.
If you show sincerity, true sincerity, it works.
I believe it
It
does,
works.
Jack.
See,
I believe it does.
Ron Todd and I say a lot of time, everybody likes being stroked.
Everybody.
I don't care where you are. I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
it on purpose. From the janitor to the CEO,
Right,
everybody likes being stroked.
right,
Genuine praise.
right,
You know.
right. I
And,
agree.
and also, it uplifts me.
Right.
You know. So
Well, I feel so affirmed. We're running out of time.
it's a win-win if you think about it.
It is a win-win.
Yeah, yeah,
It is a win-win. And I just, if they want you to come to speak, how do they find you?
Well, I've got a card, Jack Jackson Motivation. And
Jack Jackson Motivation.
I've got a card here at the station that they can call.
Well, I want you to give your number.
Okay, Jack Jackson Motivation, area code 937-837-8422 is my home, and my cell is area code 937-397-1091.
And thank you for being my Facebook friend.
It's my pleasure.
It's been.
I can't lose.
You can't.
I can't lose.
I can't lose.
I can't lose.
I can't lose.
I can't
lose.
I can't lose.
Well, today's interview with the amazing, incomparable Jack Jackson. Love this man. Love his spirit. And this should motivate some of you that find yourselves feeling sorry for yourself as you get older.
Yeah.
This man is 70. and he is a powerhouse, getting ready to do more things.
Can't wait.
Let this be an encouragement and a motivator for you to seize your destiny. And don't make excuses, because what's done is done. I appreciate you being a part of my world for this past hour with Jack Jackson. And again, as always, I welcome you to tune in on future episodes. Don't forget, if you've missed any, you can go to YouTube, Michelle Graves, The Power of Money, and get back issues, back videos, and enjoy some of my other guests. But this interview today was fascinating. So I conclude today's show with, as always, blessings, and may God be with you and your family richly. Take care.
We are handcuffed by the past too much, Michelle.
Oh, I can't go there.
I know you can't.
I just can't, because my
you-
family were hillbilly.